Welcome to College Admission TV. Dr. J.P. Novin talks with Dr. Ali Houshmand, president of Rowan University, about entrepreneurial leadership and how Rowan doubled enrollment to become one of the fastest growing public research universities in the nation.
Welcome to Season 3 of Higher Education Leader Podcasts. This season, we are exploring AI education and the future of workforce. I do like to thank our sponsor, directadmit.com, helping students this season of application to navigate their journey to higher education with clarity and confidence. I'm also excited to say that every single podcast is now getting broadcast on College Admission TV as well. I'm your host, J.P. Novin, and today I'm honored to be joined by Dr. Ali Houshmand, president of Rowan University in New Jersey. President Houshmand, welcome.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Now, since taking on in 2012, you have led Rowan through an extraordinary transformation. You've helped double the enrollment, expanding Rowan into one of the fastest growing public research universities in the nation, and establishing not one, but two medical schools. So
actually,
three. That's
yes.
Fantastic.
The School of Veterinary Medicine just opened as well.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. So you have a very unique view of access, affordability, equity, and your mindset as an entrepreneur is very unique among college presidents. So love to hear about you, your background, and what has kind of brought you to be such an effective president. And tell our audience a little bit about Rowan, please.
Well, Rowan University is in southern New Jersey. It's about 20 miles away from downtown Philadelphia. It's a public institution. It is a comprehensive university with about 16 colleges and schools. 3 of them are in medicine: a school of osteopathic medicine, a school of allopathic medicine, a school of veterinary medicine. These are the 3 medical schools: engineering, business, sciences, humanities and social sciences, communication, arts and entertainment, and so earth and environment, and so forth. So there is a lot of programs that have been created on this campus over the past 12 or 15 years. It is, as I said, a public institution, and it was in 2016. We were a master's classified university. We were not even allowed to offer doctoral program. Today, we are operating at R1 University, even though we are R2, but in the next round of Carnegie classification, we will be R1 because the past 3 years, our scores are up to R1. So I'm very pleased that as a result of bringing a lot of really top-notch professors in here and competing with the best schools for the best professors and best students, we have managed to grow significantly. And I thank all of that to the faculty and staff who have worked very hard to get to this point. It really is not just one person. It's, I'm here, but really there are 4,200 employees in here who are working very, very hard to get us to where we are.
Now, I would be remiss if I don't ask this question. What is this Houshmand's hazardous hot sauce? Tell us about.
Sure, I'll tell you about that. Houshmand hazardous hot sauce. So I have a farm. I actually do a lot of work above and beyond my job as president. We have a farm on our campus. It's a large farm, and we grow tons and tons of stuff. Maybe this year about 30 tons of produce: watermelons, cantaloupes, eggplants, tomatoes, everything. We box these things and we give them to anybody who needs it. So every Friday, people line up and with their cars and they get these things. We give them to charities, we give them to churches. We have a food pantry. So that's one thing we do. We also have an aquaponic farming where I have koi fish where I raise them and I grow them and I actually spawn them. I've got thousands of those, and we use those in a tank, and in the next tank where the water flows through, we got all sorts of produce are growing in there. These are all laboratories to teach our new young people about the way that food is produced. On the top of that, I also grow very, very hot peppers, massive amount of hot peppers in there. And we worked with the company and we bottled these things into three different types, three different levels of heat. It's called Nasty Delicious, which is the lowest heat. Then Nasty and Nasty Vicious is the highest level of the heat. And we sell these things. Our students manage this business, and every penny that we generate goes to needy students. We have given tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to students who come in. For example, think about a kid who comes in and said, I don't have $1,000, and if I don't have it, I'm going to have to drop out of the school. So we try to help that kid, and we do a lot of that. So these are the fun part of my work. These are the way that I kind of try to relax. I do that every week. I go on Sundays, actually, on Sunday morning, tons of people come in and help me with picking all the produce and produce, and enjoyed being in the farm and enjoying breathing the beautiful weather, lovely weather, and sharing the produce with people. It's a lovely thing to do. We have generated about $3 million so far in terms of fundraising for the hot sauce, and we have sold close to $500,000 so far. It has become nationally known. I mean, everybody knows me as Dr. Pepper rather than as President.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. Let's start with the first question, which is, how do you perceive the impact of AI on the future of the workforce, specifically in the next 5 years?
Well, it's going to be huge, in my opinion. Over the next 5 years, you're going to find a lot of frontline employees' job is going to become obsolete because AI can do that. I'll give you an example, for example, and not that we are going to let anybody go, but in some industries, they do. Think about, for example, mental counseling services. We have many counselors in here who work very hard, and they take care of students who need some sort of mentorship and counseling, and they have some issues. And these days there are AI tools available that can easily deliver this kind of thing. Or you look at in terms of admission, in terms of financial aid, there are many areas that I can think of that the AI is going to really impact the way that people work these days. And as a result, there is going to be a lot of transition. It's going to create some opportunities for universities, because you're going to find massive number of frontline employees who need to get upgraded and educated to the next level so that they become middle managers and become effective in the age of AI. So while I believe that is going to be a lot of kind of movement in terms of employment, but there's also going to be some positives, in my opinion, for the higher education, where people need to go and get the next level of education to be really at the level where they can function in today's knowledge. So I see tremendous amount of changes over the next 5-6 years.
Why don't you continue your thought process, please, on professions or industries that you believe are going to be most impacted, whether it's job displacement or basically completely restructured. You mentioned a couple. What else comes to mind?
Healthcare as another one. I mean, think about the healthcare where AIs can help you to do telemedicine. You can see, for example, think about the radiology, the art of radiology. These days, AI is able to read kind of X-rays and MRIs just as well as trained people. So in some cases, it's going to become a supplement, but in some other cases, it's going to become a replacement. In the call centers, for example, I'm sure you have experienced yourself. You call a number, chances are you're talking to an AI.
Yes.
And that's going to be a massive number in all sorts of industries, whether it's banking, whether it's customer service, in food industries, in wherever you can think of. You're going to see large number of people who used to do a job are going to be replaced by technology. And I can see it all over the place. I can see it, as I said, in transportation, in distribution, in manufacturing. I can definitely see it in higher education, where we really need to kind of figure out how do we transition sage on the stage into guide on the side. That's the professors, which is the largest segment of the educated people, really, because the notion of sage on the stage doesn't exist anymore. A 17-year-old today, chances are, have much more comfortable with their cell phone and using the tools that is available to them than a grown-up like myself. Therefore, the question is, am I really the professor or is the kid the professor? And what does the education mean? What does a degree means? Are we going to have a still bachelor's and master's and doctoral? Remember, the higher education in this country was created during an agrarian economy. And at that time, it was no accident that students would went to school fall and spring, with the summer going to the farm and helping the farm. That doesn't happen anymore. But we have bachelor's, which is exactly 4 years for every degree, which makes no sense to me. Why is it that, for example, an electrical engineer and a philosopher and a historian and a biologist, all of them is exactly 8 semesters, exactly 4 years to get a bachelor's degree? Who said that? It's the same as me saying that a person who wants to become a truck driver needs the exact same amount of training that a person who wants to fly a F-35 fighter. Just makes no sense. And so all of these things, in my opinion, are going to be questioned in this period. Stackable credentials, industry type of credentials, micro credentials are going to become huge in this segment. And so I see a lot of changes, and during these changes, there's a lot of, the transition, there's going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of missteps, a lot of mistakes. But eventually, this is the world is going. Because right now we are at the forefront, where if you look at the faculty of a university, chances are a big chunk of them are way before AI or technology. And then you have all these new faculty members you have recruited over the past 5 to 10 years who are very much comfortable. Eventually, the entirety of the faculty are going to move in that direction, and the whole system, in my opinion, is going to change. But we're going to take some years that the transition, that is going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of mistakes, a lot of people figuring out what to do. If you ask any college president, tell you, yes, we do this, we do that, we're trying to figure this. Nobody knows exactly what to do right now. I'll tell you an example. Today, I'm trying to build a $100 million building. Do I want to build it exactly like what I used to build, or do I want to build it differently? What do I want to put in there? And these are the serious questions, because that building that I'm going to build is going to be around for the next 50 years. Is it going to be usable and functional 50 years from now or 30 years from now? And that's what I meant, that if you have a grandchild, what kind of university do you think your grandchild is going to fit to go there to get educated? Is it going to be like today, where he or she comes in the fall and stays for a semester, and then the next semester and next 4 years and eventually get a baccalaureate degree? I don't think so. I think the world is going to completely change. So as a result, I'm sitting in here and looking at these technologies, which is amazing, and I'm really delighted that it's there. But I see tremendous amount of change in the way that the whole society works.
Yes. And you at Rowan have done a lot of work already. I mean, you have the Machine and Artificial Intelligence Virtual Reality Center. You just appointed a new associate VP for AI, I believe.
Yes, yes.
You have Rowan faculty, Gina Tang, who received a Google Academic Research Award called Ping. You're really also trailblazers when it comes to our AI policy and efficacy in terms of ethics and how it's being used across the campus.
Yeah.
All of that to say, which is, who is doing all of this work at Rowan? How is this being all thought through? Is it by professor? Is it by department? Is it part of the vision? What is making all this happen?
It's part of the vision, because one thing that we have come to realize, Novin, is this: technology is upon us, and we are not going to go back to the old days. It's going to get more and more advanced, and we better invest heavily in that area today, in everything that we do. Training our staff, building our buildings, putting curriculum together, working with industries, creating internship. All of these things need to be kind of rethought and restructured. Therefore, in my opinion, currently at this university, number one, I have absolute determination to invest heavily in technology. but also enable every one of our faculty and staff and even the front-end employees to get the necessary training to become current in this technology. Otherwise, we're going to fall behind. You cannot have a segment of the university to be current and the vast majority of them to be left behind. Therefore, it takes tremendous amount of effort on the part of college presidents and college administration to recognize the importance of this technology and to invest in every facet of what you do, whether it's building, whether it's hiring a faculty, whether it's developing a curriculum, whether it's training your staff or faculty. All of these things, in my opinion, is important. So we are doing it strategically and recognizing that this is the future. For example, we are the first university that partnered with Arizona State in Dreamscape Learn. And Dreamscape Learn is a high technology, virtual reality and augmented reality of teaching students. And if you come in, you put the goggle on and you sit down and you learn biology vastly differently from what you have done today. And we have invested massively in that area, trying to build more and more of kind of Dreamscape classrooms so that the new teaching and new method and use of AI can really become forefront of what we do. And this is going to take more and more and more. Every building that we plan to build is going to have a lot of these classrooms, sort of a typical classroom. Every professor we're going to hire, we're going to make sure that they really are current and comfortable with these things. And those of us those professors who are really left behind, we try to provide them opportunities to go to conferences, to go to training, to get upgraded. We need to do that because it's really our responsibility. This is not something that we are not doing anybody a favor. We are doing ourselves a favor in order to survive and thrive. And if we don't do that, I really don't believe that we will be able to survive as higher education.
So there's a lot of discussion in my past podcasts about AI literacy as when it comes to students and faculty, right? There's discussion about the AI experience, upscaling the workforce, and what have you. What do you think we need to do? And I know you've been talking about this, but more pointedly, to equip and educate students for careers that may not yet exist due to AI disruption. Now, we've always had, this is nothing new. We've always had careers being created.
Sure.
A lot of us, I studied philosophy and I got into technology. I mean, a lot of us is meant to be nonlinear. That's the strength of our education. But more so today, I think the speed is very, very jarring.
It is very jarring and it's very challenging for us because, as I said, there are a vast number of faculty members and teachers who really are not up to date or current with this technology. And you need to kind of get them to become current. And that's a big challenge. And it's not going to be easy because there is going to be some resistance on the part of some of them. There is also the issue of ethics in AI. How do you know that people are using it for the right reason to advance the society rather than using it for the wrong reason? And how do we know that as you train your AI, are you really training it correctly so that you can get the right answer, or are you getting garbage? And all of those things are issues that we need to really grapple with. So over the next few years, I mean, we are training students for the new technologies that we don't know, and you said it rightly. Quite honestly, I'm sitting in here, I have no idea what kind of new jobs and technology are going to be around 10 years from now. I have no idea. And if you know, I will pay you to tell me what it is, because it's tough, right? And what it does, what I do recognize is this: whatever the new technologies is, the new jobs are going to be, you better prepare your people in this technology today totally, so that they are comfortable entering the new job force and the new work jobs that are going to be created. You need to really get them to that level. You cannot wait until the jobs create and then train them for it. Because remember, universities are at least 4 years behind, at least, right? Mm-hmm. Think about the technology that exists today. In order for you to train a person for today, you need about 4 years at least to get a baccalaureate degree. That's so right. There's going to be that lagging behind in terms of being current with the technology. So there is a lot of confusion right now in higher education as to how to teach people, what kind of credential to give to people, what is important, what is less important. One thing that I do recognize in this university that I do very much is that many universities are ignoring or shrinking the humanities and social sciences. And I believe that would be the greatest mistake that we will make. I really believe if we do not train the whole person that is able to function in any kind of industry, we have created a bunch of robots. And that's going to be very, very dangerous. Therefore, we invest heavily. In fact, as we speak, we are building a brand new building for the College of Humanities and Social Sciences for digital humanities teaching, for having classrooms that using, again, AI as well as Dreamscape to teach people the new technologies. Humanities and social sciences through new technologies. We need to do that. And dismantling those areas, in my opinion, is going to be a grave mistake.
Why? I mean, so let's say you're a history major.
Yes.
It used to be that if you really wanted to go to graduate work, there were jobs available. As we know, professors are living, thank God, much longer. I mean, those jobs are less and less available.
Yeah.
I have many friends who got, PhDs in humanities, and now they're computer programmers or something else. So what do you think the role of humanities, the liberal arts, social sciences is going to be in the future of this AI world that's being created?
As I said, in my opinion, it creates a whole person, a person who can put different hat on in different technology. Think of yourself. You told me that you got a degree in philosophy and you're in AI. That tells me that philosophy taught you the ability to switch and to pivot. And to me, that is the beauty of teaching people. I'm not saying that everybody should go and get a PhD in history and philosophy. That's not what I'm proposing. You need to get as many of those as the industries need. I'm saying that the 17 and 18 years of today need to understand history, philosophy, need to understand politics to be functional in this world, because chances are the jobs that are going to be created are not going to last forever. They're going to be different jobs. Chances are that any one of us who enter the job market, by the time we retire, we have gone through 10 different jobs, all of which are different from one another. And all of that requires an ability of a person to be flexible and to be pivot. And I believe that humanities and social sciences teaches people that kind of thing. And that's why I think it's important. So what I'm saying is, if you want to be an engineer, make sure you know also philosophy. You know something about poetry. It's very, very important to be able to be functional in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. So anything that is data-driven purely could be a more function of AI that could enable us to basically enhance our ability as human beings. As one president said, it's like the modern kitchen, the dishwasher, the microwave did not replace the cook. It enhanced how we make food. I'm wondering, we do this in data science a lot, right? Which is not so much what jobs are going to be created, but maybe looking at, what jobs are going to go away, as you mentioned,
Sure.
and try to work from that point on, right? So what we don't focus on. So as far as, and you mentioned entry-level jobs, might be going away. If you're a translator, if you are a content builder, if you're an analyst, if you're a driver, if you're a teller, if you're a customer service person, even if you're just a simple programmer, right? If you were doing front-end programming, if you're a graphic designer, some of those things, you got to be concerned. So with that in mind, when you think about Rowan, how are you building a career readiness AI paradigms? Are you looking at jobs that are going away, and do you think based on that you're going to be looking at your curriculum, at your pedagogy, and how everything will evolve?
I think that one thing that higher education hasn't done enough of up until now, and we need to do a lot of moving into the future, is collaboration, very close collaboration with industries. I believe universities should become farm systems. I give you an example so that you appreciate what I'm talking about.
Please.
We have a very strong engineering program in here, an undergraduate degree program, and we work very closely with Lockheed Martin. And this is a clinic-based program where engineers work on hands-on projects throughout their 4 years. Now, these kids, when they come in, They immediately start working with Lockheed Martin on projects that are proprietary, and they work with them for 4 years doing various, work, internship. And by the time they get to the senior year, they pass their security clearance and they are hired. And every year, Lockheed Martin hires more than 100 of our engineers and scientists. And I'm saying that this should be the model that we need to apply throughout. And not only at that, but even at the curriculum level. We need to bring industry at the table in developing the curriculum of the future. Because believe it or not, when it comes to technology, I think industries are a little bit step ahead of us in terms of reading the needs of the society and the customers and developing and manufacturing the tools or the technologies or the products that the society needs. Therefore, in my opinion, it's absolutely essential that the role of the universities up until now has been kind of isolate themselves, a fictitious wall around the university needs to be broken, and we need to really get very, very close to industries so that what we produce is what the society and what the industry needs rather than what we think with it. I'll give you an example. Let's assume that today I have 1,500 students who are pursuing psychology at Rowan, and 500 students are pursuing engineering, electrical engineering at Rowan. Now, if the state of New Jersey or the country needs 700 engineers from Rowan, we are not doing the right job. If the industry and the world really needs only 500 psychologists rather than 1,500, we are producing too many. And I'm saying that needs to be figured out, because this is really where the problem is. And you mentioned it yourself. A person goes and gets a degree in philosophy, ends up being an IT person. And so I think that right sizing is absolutely essential, working with industries, bring them to the table at the curricular level, something that we are doing very aggressively. For example, another thing that we do, we are now hiring what we call professor of practice. These are people who have been in industry all their lives, have retired, and we bring them to classroom to bring all those years of experience, a real life experience to the students, rather than theoretical type of education. So these are the kind of things that I think is going to has to take place in order for us to restructure the way education is done.
Do you ever see having a course, for example, Lockheed Martin Advanced Electronic Systems Design?
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very profound. And based on what you're saying, do you see the degree granting process in higher education changing as a result of AI and workforce disruption?
Absolutely.
Or also accreditation, do you see that changing as well?
It really has to, because all of those things to me, again, are based on agrarian age educational system, and really accreditation needs to change. The way that credential is given is going to change. Micro credentials are going to be essential, and every single one of us, Novin, is going to be educators and students for the rest of our lives. I mean, think about it. I'm a 70-year-old person sitting in here, and I'm trying to train myself about AI today. Think about it. After going through a bachelor's and 2 masters and a doctorate, I don't feel I am up to date. No, we're not even close. And that tells you a story about how every single one of us are going to really remain a student for the rest of our lives and constantly acquire new knowledge, micro credentials, a 6 months training, a 3 months training in here, a conference over there, a YouTube video that you can watch. All of this is going to be part of our constant training.
You know, you talk about something very profound. First of all, I would have never guessed you're 70. So kudos. It must be all those peppers. Something is working. But you know, as someone who's got 3 kids at various stages,
Sure.
and gone through the education system, I mean, here's my thought about this, and I'd love to hear. I think so much of what's happening in K-12 education is a chore rather than a passion. So it sounds to me in this new paradigm, learning how to learn and enjoying learning, if you don't have that, you might be at a disadvantage. You inspire me to think about this because it's not that you get a degree and you stop. You have to kind of like what doctors do. You have to kind of keep refreshing. And if you don't have that enjoyment for learning, it becomes you're at a disadvantage, perhaps. I haven't really marinated this thought, but how do you look at K-12 in that sense?
Oh, the K-12 really need to be restructured in this country. It really needs to. And again, that's is the generation of teachers and administrators who are from the before AI that are right now running the systems of education in here. There is going to be a transition period until these things sort itself out. But it's absolutely essential that we really change the K through 12, and there has to be a direct connectivity between K through 12 and higher education. Because right now there are two distinct entities. You get your high school diploma, and let me tell you today, my friend, the 12th year of high school diploma in this country is a waste of their people's time. It's absolutely unnecessary. I would even venture to say that the 4-year degree, in many cases, 3 years is enough. We are looking at the medical education right now. We are creating 3+3 instead of 4+4. We are creating 3+3 for medical education because we believe that people need to get to the job market as soon as possible. The kids of today have far more knowledge in their head than the kids that when you and I were students. And as a result, you really are going to get a group of people that are much more advanced in terms of what they know already, much more in tune with technology, and really do not need this prolonged period of sitting in a classroom, getting what they call a credential, and then entering the job market. I could see a possibility that of your 3 kids, 1 or 2 of them could end up just taking a micro credential somewhere, go and work for Google, and then get another micro credential and go and work for Amazon, and then change into a new technology, then work for Uber, think for God knows what. All of these things possible. And it doesn't necessarily need to have a degree. I mean, did you really get an IT degree when you entered in this? You didn't. You trained yourself, you educated yourself to get to this point. So you were actually a lifelong learner yourself. When you look at the degree that you got and what you're doing today, it tells me that you have gone through transition by yourself, got into this technology that wasn't part of your baccalaureate degree. And I'm saying that every single kid moving into the future really is going to be in that category.
So we know, I mean, we've seen this evolvement since the Industrial Revolution, you know, but Industrial Revolution took about 50 years to evolve plus, not counting what happened in UK. We look at even the Internet Revolution, automation. Do we have enough run rate to, I mean, we know eventually we're going to create jobs because of how resilient we are, but you look at the impact of AI, do we have enough run rate to replace all of these jobs that might be lost?
One thing that I know that human society always advances. They always, I mean, yeah, it's a zigzag, but you always advance. And I cannot imagine 9 billion people in this world, that vast majority of them are going to be unemployed, and it would be a safe world. Therefore, the human ingenuity will create the jobs and creation. I mean, think about it again, 20 years ago, you and I couldn't even imagine the largest hotel in the world being Airbnb doesn't own a hotel. And he's got thousands of jobs that have created.
That's true.
And I'm saying that these are the kind of thing that today is beyond our imagination, but some brilliant people out there are imagining it and are creating it. What it is, I don't know. In the area of food production, in the area of mining, in the area of healthcare, there are going to be there has to be a massive number of jobs, because the alternative is just simply not viable for human society. You cannot have billions of people just roaming in the streets aimlessly without anything. Human being, in order to be alive, has to have purpose. Without purpose, we are not alive. You know, we are moving, we are functioning, but we are not alive in the where the human has to be. And you cannot have the world that is not alive. So I am confused, just like you are, what kind of jobs and everything, but I'm absolutely certain that the human ingenuity will create those jobs. What they are and how they are is going to have to happen, because the alternative is completely not viable.
So final question is, what would Rowan look like 5 years from now?
You know, every time that I speak, I make a speech to people, I said, you ain't seen nothing yet when it comes to Rowan. 5 years from now, this university could be very different. If you were here 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, 15 years ago, if you were here and you looked at this town and you see it today, you wouldn't believe your eyes. You simply wouldn't believe it. I mean, you think about a small village that nobody cared about. People didn't even want to drive through. In a space of 12 years, build $1.5 billion of buildings and infrastructure and completely restructure the place. It goes from 1,600 employees to 4,200 employees. It goes from 11,000 students to 25,000 students. It goes from 6 colleges and schools into 15 colleges and schools. And I'm saying that if that was the rate of change, I can see, and I am confident that is going to be a massive amount of change. In the area of technology, we are going to be very, very advanced. We are investing massively in our online education, in offering online to every student. In fact, right now, 11,000 of our students, residential students, take at least one online course every year. At least one. And therefore, in 5 years from now, I see the Rowan to be a research one university, much larger in terms of number of employees, the number of professors, the number of students, number of campuses. We are now working with a large number of institutions around here, whether county colleges or public and private institutions who want to join us, to partner with us, because financially we are very stable and we are doing very well, and we are a very safe environment. And so I see Rowan to be in a much better position than it is today. I really feel very, very positive about that, and I'm very excited about it because I really see the pattern of growth is so fast and so exciting. And I think what has happened is, I mean, we have created a culture in this university that people embrace change. In higher education, you ask a professor, how many of you does it take to change a light bulb? They say, oh my God, change? That's the view of a professor in terms of change. We have created change culture in here. So the faculty and the staff are willing to experiment new things and new ideas and new structures and new buildings and new college and new degrees. And that enables us to be very flexible and create new things that other institutions may not be able to, either because of financial situation or because of political situation on campus, neither of which we have issues with.
President Houshmand, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It was my pleasure as well, Novin, but I wish you all the best, wish your family all the best, and I hope that everything works out for you. And I am certain your kids will end up being brilliant kids in the future, learning from their dad. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the College Admission TV Presidential Podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll bring you another insightful conversation with a distinguished leader in higher education.